So the market's up, the market's down to buy. It's a good time to sell, it's a bad time to sell. Folks, if you're like most, you've heard some, if not all of these, okay? So what's the real 411 on the Fort Lauderdale real estate market? Hey there, current and future Fort Lauderdale area homeowners. Looking to buy, looking to sell, looking at both, not sure? Well, listen up, because today I got the inside scoop on the current market trends in our fair city. In this video, we'll provide you with the latest insights and trends in the Fort Lauderdale real estate market. We'll tell you the top 5 things that you need to watch out for. January 2023, the Fort Lauderdale market is considered technically a buyer's market. Okay, what that really means is that there are more properties available for sale than there are right now buyers that are looking. Now, folks, I will qualify that by saying that the number of buyers that are looking is a somewhat subjective amount, but basically the way it stands right now is that there are more properties on the market in the Fort Lauderdale area than there are folks that are registering buyers that are looking. Now, so this is great news for everybody looking to buy a home because it gives you some more options and it may give you a little bit more buying power than buyers have seen in the past, whereas even as recently as 6 or 7 months ago, it was considered to be a very strong seller's market. And again, this may give you a little bit more negotiation. It may give you a little bit more power from the standpoint of pricing and from the standpoint of the offers that you're making. For those of you that have been experiencing having to make multiple offers and really not seeing anything come of it, getting beat this time for the offer, your offer not accepted, this may be the time for you to go back and reconsider entering back into the market. It's just one of these things where as the market kind of swings back towards a balanced market or even leaning towards a buyer's market, you have a little bit more latitude and you have a little bit more opportunity to go back in and make or remake those offers. Okay, now, folks, I will say, and everybody probably knows this, that market trends and market conditions are subject to change, and there are a few factors that could always impact that. Most notably is interest rates. Interest rates are down a little bit from a recent high, and you can still look around and find rates in the 5s and into the low 6s, into the 5s by paying a point or two. And for those of you that don't really know what a point is, basically it's 1% of the loan amount. Talk to your realtor, talk to your lender. They can give you a lot more information on the benefits and how that works. Okay. The other thing is that the stock market itself can have an impact on it. If the market is up, okay, then there's a perception of a more positive economy going on. When the market's down, then that's a perception that the economy is somewhat depressed, and basically folks are not necessarily willing to go out and make those investments and make those purchases. So the upshot is, so if you're in the market for a new home, then basically it's important for you to stay informed, and it's important for you to be positioned to act fast, okay? And that's why it's all the more critical for you to reach out and work with experts like my team and I to make sure that you are positioned properly and you are positioned correctly to be able to capitalize on those market swings and those market trends. So as for the actual current state of the market, this is kind of what you need to know just in a nutshell, okay? The median sales price for homes in the Fort Lauderdale area was $535,000 last month. It's about 12% higher than it was a year ago, which while the average days on market in the home has decreased, okay, the market is still competitive, so you're going to want to move. Now, what I mean by the days on market, that's a measurement tool that basically is rather subjective. And what I mean by that is it measures a period of time from when the property is put on the market until the property is marked closed. Those are days on market, okay? And there are different statuses that go on, newly listed, if it goes under contract, once there's no contingencies, and then once it's closed and whatnot. But essentially the days on market is a period of time that particular listing for that particular property has been on the market. Now, a couple of things can affect that. Number one is that in some cases, if you're buying a condo or you're buying into an association, then there's a period of time at which the condo association or the homeowners association is kind of evaluating your request to move there, as it were. Sometimes that can take 30 days. In some cases, there may be some title work that needs to be done. There may be some additional work from a lender perspective to make sure that everything is in order. Again, this underscores the need to be working with real estate professionals and real estate experts, again, like my team and I, who understand the process and who are able to basically work with all the different folks and the different components that go into making sure that your house gets bought, that you're able to purchase your house, or for you sellers to make sure that your house gets sold and gets closed on time, because in many cases, if you're selling your home, or when you're selling your home, you're also looking to buy somewhere else. And the last thing that you want to have happen is that the closing date from when you're purchasing your new home ends up coming before the closing date from when you sell your existing home. So again, it's very, very important for you to work with somebody who understands all the nuances and understands how to work with all the involved parties. So the inventory of homes for sale in Fort Lauderdale has actually increased by 18% between December 2022 and January 2023, with basically 2,290 active home listings in Fort Lauderdale area, and 165 of them are actually new homes for sale. Okay, and if you're kind of curious about the overall appreciation rate for homes in the area, with the current median home price of $535,000, that's a 1-year appreciation rate of about 7%, and over 3 years, that's a whopping 44%. So what does that say? It says even though it may be a buyer's market, we're still seeing massive appreciation just from 1 year, but 44% appreciation over a 3-year period. Folks, in many cases, that's previously been unheard of. I mean, the age-old adage was that staying in your home 7 to 10 years, which was the average length of time people used to be in their homes, you could experience a 50 to 75% appreciation in your home between the period of 7 to 10 years. Now that you're seeing a 44% in 3 years, folks, I mean, that's basically the market down here is a strong market. I mean, so if you're thinking about buying, okay, come down here and get in there, get into the market so that you can take advantage of that appreciation over time. If you're selling, you've probably already realized a significant amount of appreciation from when you purchased your home. So you want to make sure you leverage that and are able to go ahead and get your house listed and get your house sold. Again, underscoring the need for working with experts like my team and myself. Now, the other thing is that the sales and the prices of the luxury homes here in Fort Lauderdale are declining from record high levels back in 2021, when we noticed the big shift in what people are looking for in a home and interest rates were at historic lows. Okay, they are still well above pre-pandemic levels. So even if you're looking for homes in that market, in the luxury market or the high-end market, there's still a lot of opportunity. There's still a significant number of homes that are available. I guess the base way to kind of sum things up from an inventory perspective is if you're looking to buy a home in South Florida, guess what? You're not alone. The demand for properties is high, which means that you'll need to act fast to basically find the home of your dreams, okay? And really what that means is that there is still inventory available, okay? But that inventory, if properly priced and properly positioned, is not going to be available for very, very long. As of February of 2023, there are only 599 single-family homes available for sale in Fort Lauderdale, and 767 condos, okay? Now that may seem like a lot, but in a city with over 170,000 households, that's really not a whole heck of a lot. And then again, with the median price of homes at $535,000, again, up over 7% from this time last year, okay? It's no wonder a lot of buyers are feeling the pressure to kind of act fast. And it's no wonder a lot of sellers are kind of jumping back in so that they can take advantage of that appreciation that they've experienced. So from a seller perspective, it is still a good time for you to sell. And from a buyer perspective, inventory is going up, prices are moderating a little bit, but you want to make sure that you get in so that you can still capitalize on that appreciation. So, and again, folks, the real estate market can be very, very unpredictable. When interest rates go up, that basically what that really means is the number of people who may be qualified to buy your home, that number goes down. And if the market is up, people are feeling more optimistic about the economy, and they're more optimistic and they're ready to go ahead and make those moves that they've been thinking about doing. Whereas if the stock market goes down, then they're feeling pessimistic and they're not really sure what they want to do. And it's the same thing with unemployment. Unemployment goes up, employers are not hiring, people are feeling a little bit stressed and a little bit stretched. They're not as open to making those kind of moves. So as you can see, there are a number of conditions and a number of factors that can impact the real estate market and the trends. And these trends, folks, they're not over years, they're not even over months. In some cases, they're over weeks. And depending upon the significance of them and the magnitude, they could be a day over day or a couple day over day occurrence. If the stock market, for example, goes way, way up on a Tuesday, okay, then people are very, very optimistic. If the stock market goes way, way down on a Thursday, okay, then optimism dissipates. So it's just the way it is. I mean, it just talks about the fluctuations and the wackiness, if you will, of the real estate market and because of its dependencies on other markets. Okay, lastly, it's important to keep in mind that in Fort Lauderdale, the housing market is somewhat competitive. According to our friends at Redfin, okay, homes in the area are receiving an average of 2 to 3 offers on homes. So it's not a foregone conclusion. Buyers, it's not a foregone conclusion But that initial offer you're going to make is going to make it. Okay, sellers, it's not a foregone conclusion that you're going to have to accept that initial offer. There are usually 2 to 3 offers that are made on each property. So it's something to kind of keep in mind. Buyers, it's a good thing. You want to make sure that you're putting your best and final offer out there from the standpoint of what you're offering. Sellers, you want to make sure that your goals and your objectives are reasonable and realistic. So folks, are you curious about what the average home price? We talked about the median sales price. So let's talk about the median list price of a home, okay? And folks, there is a difference. What a house lists for may or may not be what it ends up offering on it, may or may not be what it ends up selling for. So there are at least 2, sometimes 3 different numbers that are in play here. So let's talk about what the list price is and the average home price. The median home list price in Fort Lauderdale in January of 2023 was $635,000. If you think back to what I was talking about, the median sale price, okay, then basically what that really means is that there is a not insignificant gap between what folks are asking for when they initially list their home versus what they're looking to get or what they're settling for or what they're closing for, okay? Now, folks, that's normal. That happens in every market. And depending upon the type of home, depending upon the location, and depending upon whether we're talking single-family homes, we're talking condos, we're talking luxury homes, talking high-end condos, we're talking investment properties, there's all kinds of variables that go into that, but that's going to basically determine and dictate, okay, kind of what the variance is. In a market of this size and in a market of this complexity, that type of a variance really isn't that significant, okay? We have homes down here that maybe they're listing for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15. In fact, I recently saw a listing for over $42 million. Okay, that's a list price. Now, if that $42 million property sells for $32 million or $35 million, that $7 million variance, that really skews. That goes a long way in skewing what the variance is between what the property was listed for and the property was selling for, especially when the number of homes that are being sold and the number of homes that are available is so limited as it is in the current Fort Lauderdale real estate market. So what does this really mean? Okay, with a median sold price of $535,000, and currently there are 599 homes for sale in Fort Lauderdale with basically a median sales price of $535,000. Okay, even that median sales price of $535,000, okay, that is still a 15.6% increase over the same time last year. So what does this really say? It says that buyers need to be very careful and very cautious and do their homework and make sure that you're presenting your best offer up front. But it also means that sellers need to price their homes competitively. Otherwise, it's going to sit out there. Now, folks, sellers, this is something I'm just going to lay it out as simply as I can. Homes, property in this market, it's like wine, I guess is the best example. The longer the wine sits, the bottle unopened, the worse the wine tastes. The longer a property sits there without any movement on it or anything like that, or any type of activity going on or anything positive happening, okay, then the greater the sense of that there is an issue with the property. It could be something that is as simple, okay, as basically, we were overly optimistic or overly aggressive when we were putting the list price out, okay? Or it could be that there's something that is fundamentally wrong with the property that hasn't really yet been communicated out to folks, okay? So, and I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong or anything like that. What I'm saying is that whether you're a buyer or a seller, you want to make sure that you work with experts that know what's going on in the market and that understand these different trends and understand and know what to look for. That's why you rely on experts like my team and I to basically walk you through that. The days of basically typing something into a computer, okay, and basically everything being great, waiting for the offers to come flowing in. Another consideration that we're seeing that we haven't seen recently is that new home starts are way up in this area. And what that really comes down to is that when the amount of time it took for a builder to build a new home was 9, 10, 11 months, okay, that really wasn't a factor if somebody had an immediate need or a short-term need to buy a home. What we're seeing now is a lot of builders are now taking anywhere between 3 and 5 months to build homes, and many of them actually have spec homes that are already built and they're ready for sale. It basically means that home is substantially complete, and while you may not have as many options as you do if you're building it from scratch as far as decor and interior and amenities and upgrades, you're still going to have a lot of stuff, a lot of opportunity to choose colors and to choose paint schemes and maybe even to choose appliances and whatnot. But you're looking at homes that are now going to be available for 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, and that's providing a lot of serious competition for the resale homes that are out on the market. So whereas before it really wasn't a consideration, builders have really stepped up the production of homes, and they've also come to the realization that with the recent history of the market being priced artificially high, okay, that the gap between new sale prices and resale prices has come down significantly. So there is a lot more competition now with new construction homes than there has ever been before against resale homes. Okay, so and again, I'm not saying that things are going to be, it's going to be super easy, okay, but okay, what this really comes down to is if you're a seller, you need to understand the market and be able to price your home competitively. And if you're a buyer, you need to be able to act fast and make sure that you have everything ready to go and you're ready to go ahead and make that offer. And the offers that you're making the best offer that you can. Let's talk a little bit about market competitiveness, okay? And like everything else, competitiveness can be put on a scale, okay? And right now, from the standpoint of the National Association of Realtors and the Florida Association of Realtors, the Fort Lauderdale area and South Florida, and actually expanding it out to South Florida as a whole. Basically, we are on about a 34 out of 100, which means that the market itself is moderately competitive. Okay, and what that really means is that there's a lot of activity going on. We're seeing homes being sold. We're seeing new properties coming on the market. Okay, and they're all kind of lining up from the standpoint of resulting in fewer days on market for properly priced and properly positioned homes, at a smaller variance in the price that was asked for and the price that was actually agreed to and sold for. So we're seeing a lot of that happening now with the 34 out of 100. Now, just because it's not super competitive on either end, whether it's super competitive for a buyer or super competitive for a seller, okay, don't let that adversely impact or deter you. Don't let that deter you from your decision. If your decision is that you want to get involved in the real estate market here in South Florida, okay, as I said, the market itself is very fluid. There are a number of factors that need to be taken into consideration. So you really need to kind of start looking and gathering your information. And the more information you have, the better informed you are, whether you're Mr. Buyer or Mr. Seller. The more information you have, the better informed you are, the better the transaction is going to be, and the greater the probability of your expectations being managed accordingly. So one of the things that we're seeing, again, with the average sale price of $535,000 being up over a year, what that really comes down to is it does make it a little bit harder for some folks to be able to afford the properties that they were able to afford at lower interest rates last year. But what it really means is that the properties that are being sold, and the properties that are being offered, are usually a little bit more luxurious and a little bit more well appointed. So people are willing to pay a little bit more for that as our tastes in homes have changed. So the other thing is that as far as closing, I mean, typically what we're seeing now is we're seeing an average of about 35 days for closing. And what we're really seeing is overall across the entire market, we're seeing about a 3% difference in list price from close price on average. Okay, that $100,000, I know that spells out a little bit more when you're talking $635,000 versus $535,000, but when you expand it out to take all of the market in place, what it really comes down to is about a 3% difference. So what does that really mean? That means that basically homes are selling for 97% of what they're listed for, or what the sellers are asking for. Okay, so if you're selling your market, if you're seller in this market, okay, that means that basically that you're still in a good position to basically get very close to what you're looking for. There were days not too many years ago where we saw variances of 6, 7, even as much as 10% variance between what the house was listed for and what the house ended up selling for. If you're a seller, okay, you want to make sure that you take that into consideration and you price your property accordingly. If you're a buyer, you need to understand that the market has changed a little bit. Okay, and again, you need to make your best offer, but your best offer may not necessarily need to be an offer that is significantly over the asking price or significantly greater than the asking price. You need to go back and work with acknowledged experts like my team and I to look at what are similar properties being sold for, what are the amenities that are coming with it, what upgrades have been done, what distinguishes this particular property from other properties that have sold, so that you can be in a position to understand what your best offer should be. Okay, so basically we talked a lot about the market as a whole. We talked about number of properties on the market. So let's talk a little bit about the two primary types of properties here in South Florida. So basically what we're going to talk about is single family homes versus condos. So according to the recent market stats for this area, there are for every 102 single family homes that are sold, there's 127 condos that are sold on average in this area. Okay, what that indicates is that condos are more popular than single family homes in this area. That's possibly due to a number of factors. Number one could be the lower price point. Number two could be that there's just a whole lot more condos down here in Fort Lauderdale than there are single family homes, okay? And a lot of those condos can give people access to very desirable amenities such as waterfront access, beachfront access, gyms, internal gyms built in, pools, clubhouses. In some cases, it's concierge service. In other cases, it may even be a restaurant or shops that are located inside those condominiums. So that there is a valid reason why, other than just straight out numbers, as to why there more condos are being sold than there are single family homes. Okay, but one of the things that is very, very important to know, or very, very important to realize, is that the prices of condos and single-family homes can vary significantly. It's not unusual at all to see condos that are up into the $5, $10, $15 million range, and single-family homes that are down in the $200,000 to $300,000 range. And while single-family homes are generally a little bit more expensive than condos, okay, due to the large size and outdoor space, again, depending upon what amenities you're looking for and amenities you're getting in that home, and of course, the three primary factors, most important things about real estate being location, location, and location. Okay, that in some cases those condos can demand and can get a very high price point. Okay, now one of the things that you need to factor in when you're looking at condos versus single family homes is the question of the condos typically come with a little bit higher monthly fees, be it a condo association fee, be it a maintenance fee, be it whatever you want to call it, but basically it's a monthly fee that goes into making sure that your condominium and the building and the surrounding association is taken care of. For some folks, that fee is something that is basically, it's a very, very bitter pill to swallow. It doesn't really matter what amenities you're getting, it's a bitter pill to swallow. Okay, and it may be that for those folks, or the folks that want to basically, they want to take care of their own yard, they want to take care of their own painting, they want to take care of their own roof, and that's terrific. Okay, and that's definitely a reason to lean more towards single family homes. For other folks who basically just want to have a nice place to live and not worry about paying for, paying exorbitant insurance rates and paying super high taxes and having to worry about painting your house every 2 to 3 years and fixing your roof every 7 to 10 years and all the other maintenance things that go on, okay, then condos may be the answer for you, okay? But you need to understand the differences between what you get with a condo and what you get with a single family home and how it's going to impact your lifestyle, okay? And in many cases, what you really need to look at is you need to look at what the long-term costs of paying those maintenance fees, okay, versus the long-term cost, the potentially higher maintenance costs for a single-family home. For example, in a typical home, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage home down here with barrel tile roof, even though you may not be replacing your roof maybe once every 25 to 30 years, replacing that roof is going to run you about $35,000 to $40,000. That's a bitter pill for some folks to swallow. Whereas if you're in a condo, the condo association takes care of all that, and you pay your fraction, you contribute on a monthly basis what your fractional percentage of responsibility is. So again, it comes down to basically how you see your lifestyle and kind of how you see things going on. Regardless of whether you're looking at buying or selling single family homes or condos, or even a subset of either of them, which is basically townhomes and villas, okay, you want to make sure that if you're selling, that your home is competitively priced. And you want to make sure that if you're buying, that you've gone out and done your homework to look to see, are there other homes in the area, whether condos or single family homes, townhomes or villas, is the home that you're looking at, is it priced competitively? If it's priced higher, are there amenities and value adds and updates and upgrades that make it worth it for you? So very, very important thing to do your homework. So to kind of summarize everything that we've talked about at kind of a high level, so as recently as January 2023, basically, Fort Lauderdale is considered a buyer's market, technically a buyer's market. And while there are only 599 homes for sale currently in Fort Lauderdale, okay, as of February 2023, that is still a larger number of homes that are being looked at by registered buyers. What this also means is the Fort Lauderdale market is competitive, and homes in the areas are receiving an average of 2 to 3 offers on there. Again, sellers, make sure that you take this into consideration. Buyers, especially, make sure you take this into consideration that your first offer may not be the best offer, and it may not be the one that's accepted. Home prices were up over 12% this year over last year, okay? And the median sale price of homes in the Fort Lauderdale area is $535,000 last month, okay? One other thing is that we are starting to see a little bit of an uptick and a little bit of return to where sellers are now beginning to contribute a little bit to the credits to buyers, whether they be credits for closing costs, credits for decoration allowances, or credits to make sure that things that need to be addressed from an inspection perspective, or things that need to be addressed, maybe it's an assessment or whatnot, those types of things. So sellers are now going back to where they're giving a little bit of a credit back out as an incentive for buyers to take a look at their homes and take a look and make offers on their homes. So it's important to keep in mind that Fort Lauderdale real estate market is currently a buyer's market, as we've said numerous times throughout our video, okay? And what that does is that brings more options and more negotiating power for buyers, okay? However, as with any market, there are all types of things that impact that market and cause market fluctuations and market changes. So it's crucial for you, be it a buyer or a seller, it's crucial for you to act quickly and make sure that you're best positioned. The rising inventory in Fort Lauderdale area, we are seeing upticks in inventory month over month, okay? Means more options for home buyers, okay? But again, the demand is still high. We still have a number of buyers that are coming down here to look, okay? And it wouldn't take much of a swing to swing that back into a neutral market. The lack of supply, still overall lack of supply from pre-pandemic times, okay, is still a very, very significant contributor to our low inventory, okay? And again, in summary, sellers are now going back to offering credits to buyers for homes in this market. So it is returning to more of a normalized, more rationalized market as to the way things were before everything kind of got turned topsy-turvy from the pandemic.